Tonight on SRU Nightly News.
An explosion damaged many homes in Newcastle,
Another train has derailed in Ohio.
and a local teenager has gone missing. All this and more on SRU Nightly News.
Welcome to SRU Nightly News. I'm Brandon Pierce.
And I'm Bex Pernetta.
An explosion occurred in a Newcastle neighborhood on Tuesday. Crews were working to clear debris from a home that had recently demolished. While one of the members of the crew was on the ground, another was working to remove debris with construction equipment. Homes in the surrounding area of the blast were damaged from the raining down debris. According to the police, they've already received more than 24 reports of damage. While officials in Newcastle work to determine the cause of the explosion, they are not leaving anything off the table. Currently, authorities are working with the FBI and the Allegheny Bomb Squad. After only a month since the February 3rd Norfolk Southern train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, a second Norfolk Southern train has derailed in Springfield, Ohio. In the early hours of Sunday morning, a Norfolk train derailed, sending more than 20 cars flying and colliding with one another. Authorities say that no one was injured in the crash and that the train was occupied by only 2 employees. There is no immediate cause for the derailment, however an investigation has opened. Unlike the East Palestine accident, the contents of the train on Sunday morning did not contain any hazardous chemicals. While residents received a shelter-in-place alert in the aftermath of the accident, authorities have informed the residents of the area that there is no danger. A Democrat and Republican senator have come together in a move of bipartisanship to introduce legislation to rein in new safety rules for railroads. With this legislation, rail companies would be required to inform states what contents are aboard a train as it makes its way through. We reached out to Norfolk Southern in an attempt to set up an interview about the latest train derailment. All we received was this reply. As more information becomes available over the weekend, we will update you on the facts.
Butler County could see their government workers going on strike as soon as March 15th if a new agreement and contract cannot be reached with the county. The strike would see nearly 300 workers hit the picket line. These workers consist of employees from the Departments of Children and Youth, the county courthouse, and 911 dispatchers.
According to Eric Dodd, the chapter leader of SRU Local 668, the union has been working without a contract since the beginning of the year. Dodd stressed that union workers deserve a fair contract and wages that reflect the cost of living. One of our producers, James Cressman, had the opportunity to speak with Al Smith of Service Employees International Local Union 668.
Just to give you a quick background, I've probably bargained about 330 plus contracts over a 36-year period, right? So when we go to the table, we expect the employer, just like the employer should expect us to be honest and forthcoming. Now, the county in the past has always met that criteria until recently. So some of the issues that stem from a lack of communication, really, I would consider the county's taking a position or the county's representative taking a position on some things and not being forthcoming on some of the proposals. We have issues. We have a 2-tier wage system, which is at the heart of this fight, right? Where we have workers who will be currently could work for 20 years and never catch a person who's been there a year before them or years prior to them, right? As opposed to having a straight wage scale where you get paid for the work you do, they would be always less than their counterpart. So we wanted to correct that. It's only been in effect one contract. We wanted to correct that. We thought we had it corrected in off the record discussion, and it was presented differently in front of our bargaining committee. We have issued that 911 concerning overtime for folks who come in on their off day, and because of an agreement that we reached to try to get staffing levels corrected by changing from 8 hours to 10 or 12-hour shifts like we do in many counties. They took that to mean that folks who work on a Saturday, their day off, would work for straight time. That's another one of the issues, and that's a major issue for those folks at 911. And we don't go into a contract bargaining campaign thinking we want to strike. We go in saying, how do we make sure that we get a contract that both sides can live with? And right now, that's not happening. So, with the only power that we have is to withhold our services. We have a bargaining session set up for this Friday. We're going in there with open ears, right? We want to figure out a way to settle if it's possible. So we'll know more on Friday evening.
We attempted to speak with Butler County Government Commissioner Kevin Boozle. Unfortunately, Commissioner Boozle would not comment on a matter of ongoing negotiations. Both sides will return to the bargaining table Friday night. Should the union go on strike, it would be a first for Butler County.
False fire alarms are the bane of college students' existence, but they also cause wear and tear on the fire equipment and stress on our local volunteer firefighters. Here's what our field reporter, Avi Kligling, has to say.
On February the 22nd, Slippery Rock Borough Council discussed a proposal in which the borough would amend the Slippery Rock false alarm ordinance. Per the amendment, fines secured from false alarms would then be turned over to the fire department to benefit the organization.
The fines for false alarms would increase for repeat offenses. The first offense will come with a warning. Second or third offense will cost a tenant $50 and then $100. Each false alarm thereafter would cost a tenant $250 per offense. At the council meeting, Borough Manager Chris Lasky noted that because there was no way to know that an alarm is false beforehand, the fire company must respond to all calls. This is the second proposal this year from Slippery Rock Borough that is intended to benefit our local volunteer first responders. Earlier this year, Mayor John David Longo proposed offering tax incentives for emergency first responders.
On Saturday, local first responders were harassed by Slippery Rock students while responding to an emergency call. During what is known to the campus community as Slip Patty's Day, EMS crews were called to the university for a call of an unconscious male. When the first responders arrived, they found it difficult to approach the individual due to the lack of cooperation of the large crowd of college students who were occupying the courtyard of the village. As the EMS crews attempted making their way through the crowd, they received pushback from the college students who were around the unconscious man. Crews felt unsafe in the environment as they attempted to work on the man. In the aftermath of the call, police cited two individuals, 19-year-old Cameron Serrano and 20-year-old Richard Hunter. While the unconscious individual's name has not been revealed, authorities believe that the individual may have consumed too much alcohol.
A missing persons alert was issued in Butler County for a missing teen. 16-year-old Brandon Just, who was just seen last Monday, was reported missing by the Butler County Children and Youth System. Authorities have released a description of Brandon. Brandon is 5'11" in height, approximately 250 pounds, and has brown hair. As shown in the picture, he was last seen in an orange shirt. Anyone who has seen Brandon or has any information as to his whereabouts are asked to call 911 immediately.
When we return, China Foreign Minister Qin Gang had a press conference about the relationship between the United States and China.
Also, President Biden updates the immigration policy and what it means for those who are coming to the United States.
Hi, I'm Rob Disman, and I'm the owner of your local Domino's Slippery Rock. I started out with Domino's as a delivery driver when I was in college. Ended up really liking the job. Worked my way up through management to the supervisor. I did that for about 10 years. My family, we decided that we couldn't really go any further with that, so we decided to go ahead and become a franchisee with Domino's. I'm lucky enough to have enough community support that most customers have become more than just customers, they're more like friends. been a pleasure to be a part of this community for 20 years, and I look forward to many more years.
As years pass and people come and go from our lives, all we have is our memories. From the family gathering to the summer baseball games to that first trip to Disney, those memories are something to be cherished. I thought many of those memories were lost to time and outdated technology, but with Memory Lane Media, they gave me those memories back so that I can share them with my grandkids, and they can share them with their kids one day.
My name is Will Gormley, and I'm the owner of the Dinky Dachshund Tattoo Parlor. Here at Dinky Dachshund Tattoo Parlor, we offer a variety of body piercings, tooth gems, tattoos, custom artwork, commission artwork. What our inspiration here at Dinky Dachshund is to just look at the walls, look around the shop. There's so much stuff in here to look at. Our goal here is to supply our customers with a personalized, high-quality experience when getting a tattoo or a piercing.
My name is Lily Hazlett. I am the receptionist and the piercer. We also offer different kinds of jewelry, colored jewelry, whether it's a hoop, a stud, and everyone can kind of pick out what they want. They don't have to start with something that's plain. They can start with something that makes them happy and it'll look good on their body or ear.
I'm Alex Aspinall, and I'm the shop's second artist. What sets us apart from the other shops in town, the 6 other shops in town, is that we care. We like to make sure that every tattoo is for you from us, because we care.
Welcome back.
Tensions between the United States and China continue to rise. On Tuesday, China's new foreign minister, Qin Gang, gave his first press conference since assuming his new role. Gang spoke on several topics that ranged from the balloon incident to the state of the Chinese-Taiwan relations. The foreign minister offered a bleak view for China's relationship with the United States, warning that inevitable conflict between the two superpowers was on the horizon. During a speech to legislators on Monday, President of China Xi Jinping spoke to Chinese legislators about the tensions with the South. During the speech, Jinping accused the United States and other Western countries for attempting to suppress China's development. While reiterating President Xi's comments, Gang warned that if the United States continued to move the U.S.-Chinese relationship in the direction it's headed, China would have no choice but to act in the best interest of its country.
Republican challenges of former President Donald Trump will face a tough terrain ahead of the 2024 presidential race, beginning to gear up. On Friday, at the Conservative Political Action Conference, former members of Trump's administration hit back at the former president as he seeks a second term. Former Governor Nikki Haley, who was also President Trump's Secretary of State, called on a new generation of Republican voters, looking to move the party into the future rather than looking to the past. Haley's campaign is fueled by the idea that the older generational Republicans can no longer propel the party forward. During her speech, she touched on the fact that the Republicans had failed to secure the popular vote in recent presidential election years. Another former Secretary of State of the Trump administration, Mike Pompeo, also spoke at the conference. Like Haley, Pompeo pressed the issue of moving away from leaders who fail to ground themselves in reality, a sentiment that was clearly aimed at the former president, who also refused to admit that he lost the 2020 election. While many members of the Republican Party have distanced themselves from Trump, the Trump-voting Republicans, however, showed no signs of turning their backs on the former president. Throughout both Pompeo and Haley's speeches, members of the crowd could be heard chanting Trump's name. In recent weeks, former House Republican leader and vice presidential candidate Paul Ryan spoke out against the Trump presidency. During an interview, when asked about whether he'd support the former president in his bid for the Republican nomination, Ryan affirmed that he would not support Trump. While a number of Republicans are suspected of running for president, such as Pompeo and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, it is clear that whoever runs, the fight for the nomination will be ugly. When President Biden entered office, he vowed to find a more dignified and humane way of dealing with illegal immigration at the border. During the campaign, Biden came out against the practices used by the Trump administration, in which families crossing illegally across the border were detained. According to government officials, the Biden administration is seemingly reversing their stance on border detention centers and are reportedly considering reviving the practices used by the Trump administration. The situation at the southern border has continued to descend into chaos as a surge of migrants have been attempting to cross the borders as they seek asylum from other countries. Immigration advocates see that this is not only betrayal from the president, but a return to Trump politics, which many believed were safely in the rearview window. There has been no official confirmation from the White House. However, government officials have been quick to distance the issue away from the Trump administration's handling of the border crisis.
The resolution to expel George Santos continues to make attraction as more members of his own party continue distancing themselves from the embattled congressman. Last week, it was reported that the House Ethics Committee had opened an investigation into Congressman George Santos stemming from numerous irregularities with his past. The committee has been tasked with investigating whether Santos deceived donors and the voters themselves with his falsehoods, which would have led to his election. Congressman Robert Garcia, DCA, Mark Molinaro, RNY, and Richie Torres, DNY, Nick Lalata, RNY, and others have been leading the calls for Santos's removal from the House. The anti-Santos congressmen, however, are looking to take even further steps by passing legislation that would prevent Santos from profiting of his story with book deals and more. There are some Republicans who don't agree with expelling Santos, as they fear a special election within his district could result in a Democratic win. There are members of the Republican Party who recognize that by allowing Santos to continue his term, it could lead to a Democratic win in the next election. For Democratic Congressman Garcia, enough is enough, calling for House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to step in and do the right thing. Garcia shared this tweet on February 10th. The expulsion resolution I filed with a group of colleagues is simple, and it's time for George Santos to resign. Now it's up to Kevin McCarthy to act, or we will work on to force the resolution on the House floor. We reached out to Congressman Garcia this morning to ask about the importance of the resolution to expel Santos and what effect this controversy is having on Santos's Republican colleagues. This is what we heard back. Congressman Lalata, who is a representative of New York, believes that the longer Congressman Santos remains in the House, the more donors he will continue to scare away. According to Lalata, some of the donors who gave the Santos campaign feel embarrassed to now be associated with the congressman. For Congressman Santos, he continues to maintain that the attacks on himself and his background stem from personal issues, members from within his own party, and that of the Democrats have with him personally. While Santos has admitted some of his background information being untruthful, he vehemently denies any criminal wrongdoing. When we come back, what measures the university has taken to notify students of scam and phishing emails.
Hi, I'm Rob Disman, and I'm the owner of your local Domino's Slippery Rock. I started out with Domino's as a delivery driver when I was in college, ended up really liking the job, worked my way up through management to the supervisor, I did that for about 10 years. My family, we decided that we couldn't really go any further with that, so we decided to go ahead and become a franchisee with Domino's. I'm lucky enough to have enough community support that most customers have become more than just customers, they're more like friends. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this community for 20 years, and I look forward to many more years.
Slippery Rock University Communication has reported an increase in email and texting scams designed to steal money or information from the victim. Students complain these scams often present themselves as big companies like Amazon or Squarespace, but come from an unfamiliar residential phone number.
Yeah, so I just get a lot that are like supposedly from like Amazon or like any other like shopping service I use, and they're claiming that like my account has been suspended or there's been something, but it's like a text message from like this random number. It's like, it's clearly not Amazon.
I just got a phishing email. I saw that you guys were going around, and 5 minutes later it says I got one. So lovely. Don't click on any links, guys. Just delete it.
Sometimes the user doesn't even have an account. The younger, more tech-savvy student population can usually tell if a message is real or fake, but many students understand why the older population can more easily be victimized by these phishing scams.
I think it's like pretty obvious for me to tell, but like I would imagine like maybe for like older people, like they might like who don't know that like Amazon wouldn't like text you to let you know that your account is suspended. I'd imagine it might be a little confusing for them.
SRU Communication also worries for students about an increase in sextortion scams, which is the act of threatening to share explicit photos or messages unless some form of payment is made. Teenagers and young adults may have never shared any explicit photos or messages and still fall victim to these scams. This is Matt Glover with Rock Media Network. Now for sports with Tyler, Aiden, and Eddie.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Aiden.
And I'm Eddie.
And we're here with your weekly Rock Media Network SRU Sports Update.
Rock Baseball had their home opening series this past weekend. They welcomed Alliance to town and swept them. Devin Dunn, Robert Herr, and Luke Truman each grabbed wins on the mound. They'll welcome West Virginia State University to town this week as they look to continue their win streak.
The SRU indoor track and field team had 17 athletes earn all-region honors. They also had 3 athletes qualify for the national championships at Virginia Beach. Joshua Vandermark, Sarah Corey, and Brian Dworick will compete this weekend.
SRU Tennis will return to action on their spring break trip. They'll play 4 games in Florida as they look to get ready for conference play almost as soon as they get back. SRU Women's Lacrosse will have 2 games this week as they look to stay undefeated. They played DeUville at home before they travel to play number 14 Lynn on Sunday.
And that's all. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, I'm Rob Disman, and I'm the owner of your local Domino's Slippery Rock. I started out with Domino's as a delivery driver when I was in college. Ended up really liking the job. Worked my way up through management to the supervisor. I did that for about 10 years. My family, we decided that we couldn't really go any further with that, so we decided to go ahead and become a franchisee with Domino's. I'm lucky enough to have enough community support that most customers have become more than just customers, they're more like friends. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this community for 20 years, and I look forward to many more years.
Welcome back. We have some exciting events coming up for when you come back from spring break. In honor of Women's History Month, the Women's Center and Fraternity and Sorority Life are going to be hosting He for She, supporting the women in your lives. Come and learn the steps to support all women and girls in your life. He for She will take place on Tuesday, March 21st from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. in the Smith Student Center, room 320.
The Slippery Rock University Council of Trustees invites the campus community to attend a welcome event for incoming SRU President Karen Riley. The event will include greetings from the SRU President Bill Berry and representatives from the trustees, as well as remarks by Dr. Riley and PASHE Chancellor Daniel Greenstein, with a campus reception to follow. The event will take place on Wednesday, March 22nd from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. in the Smith Student Center Ballroom. There is also a Zoom link available for those who are not able to physically attend, located on the President's Office core page.
The History Department is hosting a Holocaust Remembrance program in conjunction with Slippery Rock University's Women's History Month. Guest speaker and New York Times bestselling author Judy Battalion will present The Light of Days, the untold story of women resistance fighters in Hitler's ghettos. There will also be a special announcement to name the annual Holocaust Remembrance Program presentation in honor of Richard Martin, the late Slippery Rock University political science professor, as well as a Holocaust-related musical performance by the music department. The Holocaust Remembrance will take place on Wednesday, March 22nd from 3 o'clock p.m. to 5:15 p.m. at Miller Theater.
After the break, we will discuss our plans for spring break.
Hi, I'm Rob Disman, and I'm the owner of your local Domino's Slippery Rock. I started out with Domino's as a delivery driver when I was in college. Ended up really liking the job. Worked my way up through management to the supervisor. I did that for about 10 years. My family, we decided that we couldn't really go any further with that, so we decided to go ahead and become a franchisee with Domino's. I'm lucky enough to have enough community support that most customers have become more than just customers, they're more like friends. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this community for 20 years, and I look forward to many more years.
As years pass and people come and go from our lives, all we have is our memories. From the family gathering to the summer baseball games to that first trip to Disney, those memories are something to be cherished. I thought many of those memories were lost to time and outdated technology, but with Memory Lane Media, they gave me those memories back so that I can share them with my grandkids, and they can share them with their kids one day.
Welcome back. So Bex, what are you going to be doing for spring break?
I'm going to be going home. I'm going to be seeing my family, especially my new cat Hopper. What about you?
I'm going to be going home as well, although I'm going to try to take a ride up to Cleveland to check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, nice.
So just to get out of the house for a little bit.
I'm going to be in Cleveland as well. I'm going to be going to the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Oh, very nice. Have you gone to that before?
I went there last year.
Yeah, so what's that about?
It's basically a parade in Cleveland that is on St. Patrick's Day, and there are a lot of marching bands, military personnel.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of the color green around there too.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never been to a St. Patrick's Day parade, but that sounds like it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do anything else fun while you're home? I know you said you got a new pet.
I don't know if I have any. Oh, well, I'm gonna practice for the Villain Cabaret.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty busy too. I got an internship. Just gotta catch up on a lot of work and just relax for a little bit. It'll be nice to take a step back from campus and have a bit of time. But
yep. And that's all we have for you tonight, Slippery Rock. I'm Bex Pernetta.
And I'm Brandon Pierce. Have a great evening, SRU.